right, greetings everybody. Hi, I am Jules, and this is my channel, Allegedly Innocent. And today is Wednesday, April the 19th, 2023, and I appreciate you taking time to listen to my video. So, what I want to do today is I want to play the telephone call Lori Vallow had with her basically only remaining child. The other two children she has allegedly engaged in a conspiracy to kill them. And so, this phone call that she has with her son is devastating. So, I want to take some time, kind of go back and play it through and react. I know everybody's listened to it by now, but I want to listen to it, really focus and see what I can learn about Lori Vallow. So it's very hard to hear at the very beginning, isn't it? It sounds like he's saying, "Did you hide from me, or did you think that you could hide from me?" Um, where is my headphones? Because that was terrible to try to hear. Let me see if I can hear it a little bit more clearly this way. Wow, that was not good. All right, I'm sorry about that. Let me try again. Yeah, he says, "Do you think you can hide from me?" Okay, so he comes out very direct and very strong. He's just bluntly saying, probably because, I'm angry with you because you murdered my siblings. Um, I'll tell you, that's not really the preferred way for most people to start these difficult conversations. I guess I should say it's not really the most natural way. I think most people kind of they they're trying to be gentle because there's that fear that maybe I'm wrong about this, or maybe there's a reasonable explanation, so I don't want to be too direct. However, if you are one of those kids that grew up with a parent who was, on the very high end or extreme end of borderline personality disorder or narcissistic personality disorder, antisocial PD, you may learn in your adult years, you may learn that you can't be judicious, that you have to be direct and you have to be forthright, because they wiggle, they're slimy, and they manipulate and they wiggle, and you get used to being gaslighted, you get used to that type of manipulation. So it's pretty interesting that Colby, who really has been one of her constants in her life, they said, that she really relied on Colby for years and years. It's very interesting that he is kind of the parent. You can already kind of see he's in the parent role. She's more of in the child role. Very interesting.
prayed for you in my worst moments. I prayed for my siblings. You swore to me we're okay.
Yeah.
I thought I could trust you. I thought that you were a completely different person.
What's up,
It's
guys?
very,
My name is
it's,
Mike, and
it's really sad that Colby's having to come to terms with how dramatically different his mother is, that she's changed so much in such a short period of time that he's almost got like whiplash because of this change in personality. Now, what we know about borderline personality disorder is, there's this obviously this extreme fear of abandonment, and that's kind of the fuel that drives a great deal of what they, do. But there is that underpinning of identity that they don't know who they are. They engage in a great deal of fantasy about who they may or may not be. Their allegiances and loyalties change often, and whomever is the flavor of the day, the person that they're most identifying with at the moment, they'll actually change their physical appearance to match whoever their newest friend is. It can be quite disconcerting to know these people for a long period of time and watch their chameleon like change. So sadly, Colby's having to come to terms with this. And maybe in the past he's noticed, he's seen his mother go through these changes, but he didn't really think much of it if it was fairly subtle. I would challenge, I think that we've learned at this point that Tylee had no use for Melanie Gibb at all. And I would be willing to sort of venture, I would be willing to maybe say perhaps Tylee recognized that Melanie Gibb showed up on the scene at the same time that her mother transformed into, I don't know, priestess of the 144,000. That Tylee, because she is very independent and her ideas of reference were very realistic and had good reality testing and whatnot, that she was watching her mom change. She was watching these people go through some very strange and fantastical activities, and maybe she held Melanie Gibb responsible. Maybe she watched Melanie Gibb and Chad Daybell and said, these are the jerks that are causing my mom to act like an alien from another planet. So while Colby is recognizing this dramatic change, he's not there and intimately involved in the same way that Tylee is. But we may be seeing the same thing. Her dislike of Melanie Gibb may have been the portend for Lori's dramatic change in identity. And Colby is stating, I have no idea who you are. You bear no resemblance to the mother that I've known. What happened to you? And maybe Tylee, if she were here, she would say, Colby, Melanie Gibb happened to mom. Chad Daybell happened to mom. The fireside meetings happened to mom. Julie Rowe, the podcast. That's what's wrong with her. It's very interesting. It's devastatingly sad, but it's interesting.
I don't know in reverse mode.
Now, again, I said Colby's in the role of adult parent, and Lori sounds like a teenager. Well, you don't know what was. You don't know. You weren't there. You don't know what happened. Well, any adult knows. You don't have to be there to know exactly what happened. There are patterns of behavior. There are things that are outside the line of expected behavior. And when you're an adult, it doesn't take a lot to use good fluid reasoning and figure out, okay, well, if I, use good deductive reasoning, what do I think likely happened, right? You don't have to be an eyewitness to everything to know. If your kid comes in and they smell kind of funny and the whites of their eyes are flame red, and they're talking slow, it's a pretty good indication that somebody has been smoking the ganja. Okay, so it's funny that she's taken the role of defensive teenager who has been caught drinking or having sex or doing things they shouldn't be doing as a teenager, and Colby is the adult in the room. Colby is the one saying, come on, cut the crap. Let's just figure this out. Talk to me and be honest, and let's figure out, how to go forward here.
What happened?
Everyone's making their own judgments.
Mom, you've been shoving BS on my throat for a very long
She said, everybody's making judgments on me. You remember, Chad said my sister-in-law makes me sick with all her conspiracy theories. That old Heather, I don't like her. Okay, it's not even funny at this point because, it used to be funny. Now we've heard the evidence and it's just, it's devastating. It's just incredible, the level of personality disorder that both of these people, Chad and Lori, the level of personality disorder that they had together, feeding off of one another, using this religiosity crap, the narcissistic need for power and recognition. We know that was eating Chad Daybell up. He wanted to be something special. He's so jealous of his brothers, and he was never anything, nothing. He used religion as a road to power. And Lori was raised in a family of origin with the Mormon religion being front and center. She received special attention from her father, who basically told her that she had a special destiny related to religion. And she was highly narcissistic and borderline, the frequent husbands and relationships and the constant sexual problems, accusing everyone of sexual abuse. And when one kind of crazy meets up with another kind of crazy, it's the perfect firestorm. And this is what we got. It's devastating.
time. I'm gonna talk to you.
You could be
in
mad
a sweet. Hey, listen to me. I'm not mad. Listen to me. Fine, listen to me. I've sat there and prayed. I can't tell you the amount of pain that I have felt from your decisions in Jesus Christ's name. It kills me to watch you sit here and tell me this is a trial. It kills me to watch you take the victim's route and say that this shouldn't have happened to you.
Now, this taking the victim's route, this is something that's fairly common in narcissistic personality disorder. They love the idea that they're powerful and they're tough and they have special skills and they can get over on people and they can manipulate people. They love that. Now, a healthy person, a normal, a stable person, you don't like that. You don't want to manipulate people. You don't want to make people look foolish or bad, and then you get a sense of power because you're able to make them look foolish. Normal, healthy people don't like that. It is really uncomfortable. But for somebody with narcissistic personality disorder, The end goal is to feel powerful, to feel special. And so to be able to set someone up, make fun of them, attribute lies to them, basically make their lives a living hell, make them miserable, you will get a lot of duper's delight. You'll get a lot of smiling because as they tear someone down, as they hurt someone, it makes them feel powerful and they build up. Now, obviously, when people get manipulated or harmed, it can evoke anger, well-placed anger, righteous anger. It can evoke anger, and that can cause a backlash from other people. And so you can get reactive aggression, sometimes reactive violence, right? But the narcissist will then shrink back and, clutch their pearls and say, oh my gosh, where's this coming from? How dare you call me names? How dare you go after me? What's wrong with you? Well, what's wrong is that you, the narcissist, you intentionally gaslighted and manipulated another person in their weak moment, and you hurt them. An unsuspecting victim. You caused the harm to the other person. And the resulting backlash, righteous indignation from good and decent people, now they're attacking you, calling you out for what you actually are. Lori, you're killing people in the name of God. You're engaging in delusional thought that somehow you are Moroni, that you're a warrior, that your brother is the angel of death working on behalf of God and Jesus Christ, and you're powerful and you can do these things because you are special. But you killed your kids in a quest for power, in a quest to be the queen of the 144,000, what I like to call the queen of the damned. You used God and religiosity to insulate yourself and put it on like it is a cloak of royalty. It wasn't a cloak of royalty. You just became a common cold-blooded killer. You lacked complete and total empathy for two young people and your husband and Chad's wife. You had zero empathy for them, all because your need, your hunger for power and people admiring you and people looking up for you, never mind that you've never accomplished anything in your life, Lori. You've never accomplished anything. Nothing. But you believe somehow that you are destined for greatness. And you sacrificed 4 people for this nonsense. You collected these women around you and you filled their heads full of nonsense. And because they lacked clear identity, because they didn't have anything that made them feel special on their own 2 feet that they earned, they were hungry to believe you and Chad and all of your manipulative gaslighting and nonsense. So this reaction that you're getting from Lori here is a dime a dozen for narcissists that have hurt other people with their BS. And when the reactive anger response, sometimes reactive violence, when it comes, then they're like, oh my gosh, how dare you attack me? You don't know me. Why are you talking about me? You don't know anything about me. Well, I do actually. According to all the stuff that's been put out there, all the receipts, if you will, you're a pretty low empathy, high aggression, unpleasant, fairly sociopathic person. and you hurt people in a way that others can't recover from. So, yeah, I don't like you. I dislike you immensely. I might even call you terrible names because you've done terrible people to good and decent people. Yeah, you've done terrible things to good and decent people. So this playing the victim, and Colby's, he gets it. He knows what she's going to do because he's been dealing with her his whole life. He's got her number. The difference is this time, rather than it being foolish, silly nonsense, accusations of sexual abuse, this time she ran across a guy who was a psychopath and had no qualms about having people removed from this life so that he could have sex with the kind of woman that he never would have ever been able to have sex with before. She is not responding to him like, oh, he's such a hottie, woo, woo, woo. She's looking at Chad Daybell as her path to greatness, that she is being held up by Jason Mao and others as the queen of the 144,000. And she is, for someone like Lori, who has very little personal identity, but her dad convinced her that she was destined for greatness, and she doesn't have a single thing in her life to feel good about. Nothing. It's all been her head filled with dreams. Chad Daybell, that was poison to someone like Lori Vallow. Poison. So Colby knows her. Colby's dealt with her. Colby recognizes her ability to shift. You know, she's a great shapeshifter, right? Adapting her personality to whatever the setting is, whatever the demands of the setting are. Always trying to get everybody to look at her. But Chad Daybell's delusions and sociopathy, it manipulated Lori to a higher level so that she overlooked abomination because she was so close to the brass ring. She was so close to being special and different and unique. But Chad's just a psychopath, just consuming people because he has zero respect for human life, in my opinion. And Colby and Tylee, they didn't recognize their mom anymore once Chad Daybell got a hold of her mind.
You are telling me that Chad Daybell came into your life, and all of a sudden, everything changes. And I'm talking about my spirit. Feel this. I'm afraid. I trust you. I gave you every chance I could pass my limitations that you gave me. I pushed past all of everything to try to get to you. Help my own mother. You lied to me, specifically to me.
And he's describing this sense of real earnestness. You know, we say we're passionate about things. We say that we pray and hope for the good, but he's trying to, his emotional experience of recognizing the changes in his mother, recognizing that he's dealing with something that is almost otherworldly, right? That he's trying to reach God, what he's perceiving the only one that can possibly help in such a dramatic, horrific nightmare, that he surpassed even his own belief systems with such intense earnestness in prayer. Please help my mom. Please bring her back. What is going on? Don't let my life disappear. Something. Help me, God, find something that I can salvage in this mess that my mother has created. These emotions are so big in him, he hasn't got the words to communicate with his mom for her to understand what he's experienced. And to tell you the truth, Lori's gone. Lori's gone. She's so deep in her delusion. At this point, how would she ever let herself accept, yeah, I actually believe that my kids were possessed and I allowed them to be killed. I did that. Because by all accounts, you talk to Larry and Kay Woodcock, Crescia, people that knew them a long time ago, her sister, you talk to Zach, they all said, no matter what you want to say about her, she was a great mom. She loved her kids. Her friends in Hawaii, Tylee's friend's mother, they all said the same thing. Lori was dedicated to her children. She was a good mom. But the sad thing is that Lori was very empty on the inside. That's the whole narcissism problem. She was very empty on the inside. Her idea of who am I, what is it that makes me tick, why am I on this planet, what is my function here? It got all turned upside down by family of origin crap. This hyper religiosity that was really, I think, a bit, maybe a little convenient. Maybe her mom and dad used religion for attention, but they didn't actually live that type of piousness. They spoke it, but they didn't live it, you know. And for the dad of the family to treat her like she was destined for greatness, that she had some special religious, gifts, that just set her up for the craziness of Chad Daybell. They were both primed. This train wreck, y'all, started 20 years ago. This train wreck, it was happening for decades before the day of the nightmare actually began.
More times than I can count. To know that they're gone, and you knew, and my phone is being texted by my little sister, who's not even alive.
My God.
My little brother, who's the sweetest little kid ever. For what purpose? Can you tell me this is God's will for my whole family, including stepmother, to be dead? After everything that you tried to tell me, you can tell me right now that Jesus Christ, the Savior of the world, is on your side. You tell me that.
He's asking her, do you really believe this is God's will? All this death, you believe this is God's will? Now listen to her response. It's just jaw-dropping.
With all conviction in your heart that Jesus Christ is on your side. Please.
I can't tell you that.
Say it. Say his name. Say that he told you. And you followed him on exactness. Because I have prayed for you. I sat there and I did my best to forgive you and Chad, Alex, and I was deceived and I was broken by my own mother. What are you doing? What are you doing? I prayed to heaven, and I said, you tell me, Father.
All right. Have all made these judgments. Does anything know what happened?
So he's sitting there literally pouring his broken heart out. He's trying to say, think about Jesus. Think about God. Think about the light and the love that we associate with Christianity. You have to explain to me that you believe that this is God's will, all of this death and destruction. And her response, she sounds like a junior high school kid. Well, everybody's saying things about me and they've all formed judgments. It is, she is in denial. Now, she knows what she did. Don't get me wrong. She knows what she did. But it's not the real Lori, right? When you think about narcissism, remember, there's this mask, there's this construction of an alternate identity because their own identity is just broken and flawed. You combine the narcissistic PD with the fear of abandonment that's inherent in the borderline personality disorder. It's a lethal combination because they believe that they're no good and that they're broken people that no one can love. At their heart, their basic automatic negative thought is, I am unlovable. Okay? It doesn't mean that's accurate, but that's their perception. That's their own phenomenological experience. I am unlovable. And so what ends up happening is that they form an alternate identity that we call the mask. You've heard, Dr. Ramani talk about people's mask. They form this alternate identity, and this is the facade that they present to the world. Now, as long as they are unchallenged, as long as life is going pretty good, they may not cling heartily to their mask. It'll still be there, but every now and then maybe they're relaxed and the real person comes through. But if they find themselves in a position of being challenged, they get backed into a corner. They fear they're going to be in trouble. They fear that they're going to be exposed. That their weakness and the fact that they know that they don't measure up to normal people, their fear that will be exposed, and they will take a death grip to hang on to that mask, that false facade. The most dangerous time, the thing that will cause a narcissist to go from just being, irritatingly audacious and obscene is if someone is about to expose them. And some of these narcissists have killed in order to avoid being exposed as the fraud or the broken person that they actually are. So they can become quite dangerous people when you're talking about exposing the real person. As long as they feel like their facade is intact, then they feel safe and they're not likely to react in an aggressive or violent way. But you start saying, I'm going to get you. And listen, Charles Vallow did that, didn't he? In March, what was it, March or April? He told Lori, I am going to Rexburg and I am going to Tammy Daybell and I am going to expose you and Chad and your little group and all of this dark and light and zombies and prayer circles. I am going to expose you guys. I'm going to tell his wife and his children what you guys are up to. He's trying to pull her mask off. He's trying to pull the facade away. And her facade is an audacious one. Queen of the 144,000. She is now in this well-organized delusional state that has, she likes it. She likes the way that she feels special, something she's never been able to achieve before. She couldn't even win the little, Miss County something for the Miss Texas or Mrs. Texas pageant. She can't do anything. She's never achieved anything making her feel good. She went on the what was it? Wheel of Fortune, and maybe that got her hungry for some fame, but she could never do any more. was the highlight of her life, really. So here she is now with Chad. She thinks he's this big time author, powerful guy in preparing a people, king of the damned. She thinks now her destiny is now realized, right? Her destiny is now in place. It's just within reach. And Charles says, I'm exposing you. You are crazy. I'm telling Tammy, his wife, his children, the friends, the temple, I'm telling all of them what you guys have been up to. It's all coming out. We're going to shine a light on it. We're going to stop all this nonsense. You're going to go to the hospital. You're going to get treatment. And then we're going to bring my wife home and we're going to go back to being a family again and put all this craziness behind us. He's exposing her. He's going to remove her mask. And she can't have that, can she? And who's the first one to die? The one who threatens to expose her.
They think
I don't care about
they
other
know
people.
what happened. They think they know the smart one.
Do you know that you told me? Do you know what you told me?
You weren't there, so
You're right. I wasn't there. I was kept
that's
in
right.
black.
And one day,
Two kids
you will know.
murdered.
One day,
Murdered.
you will know what actually happened.
What could actually happen? What could actually happen? Charles is dead. Tammy is dead. Tylee is dead. JJ is dead. Everybody's running around adding life insurance, in weeks before they all die. They're all collecting money from the deaths of all these people. What could have possibly have happened, Lori? Not a damn thing. She's just buying more time. It's just more gaslighting, misleading, manipulating. Right now, she's feeling, oh my gosh, how dare you question me? Oh, I'm so hurt. I'm so hurt that you would talk to me this way. And Colby's like, shut up, Mom. What do you mean you're hurt? It's crazy. You're the one whose behavior is bad. You're the one whose behavior is obscene. Just because I get angry with you and call you out on it doesn't make me the bad guy. I'm living a good, decent, honest, moral life. But she's making excuses. Oh, if you only knew. Everybody's making up stories about me. I'm Chad's sister-in-law, Heather. She has conspiracy theories and it makes them sick. I mean, these two are like high school children. My heart is broken for Colby, truly.
I will stand there with
Everything is right. You're out. He will convict the people who act in his name with pure blasphemy.
Have you ever heard of a more hysterical giggle in your life? Now, people heard that and they were outraged. Colby is right there with the rest of us. We're all going, lady, this is the ultimate in terms of using the Lord's name in vain to pray for the deaths of people. It doesn't matter if you want to call them zombies or not. The fact of the matter is that goes against everything we know about the Christian faith. And we pray for people to be well. We pray for people to find peace and to find happiness or to find resolution. We don't pray for people to be harmed. That is, well, Colby said it. The blasphemy that has come out of this group with Melanie Gibb and Jason Mao and Serena, it's blasphemous what they've been up to. It's blasphemous what they've done. Even with Zulema, some of the things she said, my jaw just hit the ground and I thought these people are not even thinking. They have just turn to Chad, and for whatever reason, they just accept whatever he tells them, and they have completely left their discernment behind. They're not even questioning what Chad's saying. It is a cult. This follows all the guidelines. So Colby is being a very mature and very strong man, who's a man of faith, and he's saying, Mom, you raised me to believe in God and put my faith in Jesus Christ and to live a life of dignity and morality, and you guys that are blaspheming against everything that you've taught me, everything we know. What's wrong? Why can't you see that? And you hear this. Now, a lot of people got offended by that, and they were like, wow, that was crazy that she did that. But for me, there was a moment of levity. There was a moment that Lori Vallow said, Colby's right. That was fear. That laugh, that was fear, because she knows he's saying the truth.
This is funny. This is funny. This is funny. You're laughing like this is funny. How come your camera's on, Mom? You don't want to look at me in the eye? Why can't you look at me? It's
Nice
just
to
you
talk
and me.
to
I'm in
you,
my house
Holmes.
alone.
I love you. I always will. One day you will see and one day you won't understand.
Go ahead and
I
hang
do
up.
love
See
you.
how that works for you.
Coward.
I don't have anything else to say.
So it was fear. He said it's blasphemy. And she was like, oh my God, he's right. Oh my God. Oh my God. So you get that hysterical giggle. And then it's like, you know what? I have to go. I'm queen. I am queen of the 144,000. You can't possibly understand my lofty position or the very important work that I and my priest are doing together. And one day I pray that you'll know. And so now you go away and get out of my delusion, get out of my facade, so I can go back to being Lori, Lori, Queen of the Damned. That's that her. Remember what I said? They're most likely to get violent when someone tries to pull the mask off. And when he said, this is blasphemy, Mom, I don't care what you want to call it. This is the very worst that a Christian can do. That got her. She heard him in that, heard Heard. She heard him in that moment, and she knew the truth. She heard it, and that mask slipped, and that was that hysterical laughter. Otherwise, it could have been just total and complete narcissistic crash, that her whole entire personality and internal false system falls to pieces, right? So there's hysterical laughter. She grabs that identity and pulls it back on tight and dismisses him.
You obviously don't know. You weren't there. You weren't there. Summer wasn't there. My mom wasn't there. The police weren't there. The FBI weren't there.
You're right.
Nobody was there.
Tyler and Gigi, Mom.
Yeah, and guess what? They know. They know exactly what happened. And they love me. And we're still together forever.
Interesting, right? Very childlike. There's your borderline element coming out. They love me. They were there. They know it happened. They love Lori, Lori. They love me. That's all that matters. Where me and you, Colby as a father, we're all standing around going, but Lori, that's not the point. The point is you were supposed to love them. That's the point. You're the parent. They were the children. Like Larry and Kay Woodcock are fighting for justice for JJ and Tylee because that's really all they have left at this point. They're doing the parental oversight and protection. even in some ways, Colby's sort of taken on that role of parent in trying to deal with Lori. He's talking to her like he would talk to a petulant, ninth grader who's, fallen in love with some 30-year-old man. Going, but you can't do this because he's using you and he's harming you. Oh, but he loves me. He loves me. It doesn't matter if he loves you. He's going to hurt you. We're not doing this, right? So everybody gets it. And Lori, again, she says that the things that truly reflect her incredible level of immaturity. Number one, she is a child in her mind. And number two, the borderline influence of such an intense fear of abandonment. This is a very, very sad situation.
They love me, and they are fine, and they do know the truth, and I know the truth, and we're the only people that do. So you can judge me, Colby, all day long. Go ahead and judge me. The whole world has. The whole world has judged me. They don't know, and you don't know. You know what I've been through, and you didn't even give a crap what they've been through. Nobody.
You don't know how hard it's been for me, Colby. You don't know. You should feel bad for me. You should feel sorry for me. Don't give a damn about the pain and suffering that I've caused other people. Don't even think about that, because that doesn't matter. What matters is my pain, my suffering, the fact that people got mad at me because I was obscene. No. We can't do that. We can only just, oh, poor Lori. It must have been so hard for her when she ordered the death of her babies. The eternal victim.
Except for me. I am the one that knows. I am the one that was in the hospital with Kylie for hundreds of days watching her suffer. I am the one that was there doing everything with JJ every day. I was the one who did it all these years.
You did it all to throw it in the garbage. They're not.
You don't know what happened. You don't know what happened.
Everything doesn't matter what happened if they're buried in your new husband's backyard. Tell me that matters what happened.
This was devastating. This was absolutely devastating with Colby. But I am so proud that he was able to take a deep breath and be very direct and just hit her with full truth. Just lay it out there. When people go through this kind of narcissistic abuse, which is what he has suffered, right? When people have to experience this level of trauma and narcissistic abuse, that it is very important to take back their control, to declare what is absolutely true and take back the control that was taken away from them. So he I know this was so painful, but man, if I could be in my worst hours, if I could be 1/10 of strong as what Colby demonstrated, I would be doing good. I have a great deal of respect for this young man. He's only 27 years old. He carries himself, he communicates like he's 45. So he's a very strong person.
Tell me they did this in Jesus' name, Mom. I have to hear that out of you. You believe it and you are not afraid. Every witness of Christ will scream his name when he comes back. So you are that person.
I am that person. I am that person. And he will come to you. Oh, yeah, Colby, because that's what it is.
It is murder.
You don't even know. You weren't even
When
there.
I asked you about Todd in October, what did you tell me? What did you tell me? What lies did you feed me? Why would you lie to me if you're with the Lord and you've seen him? And I'm just talking purely to you. And you've seen Jesus Christ. Where's the fear? Why wouldn't you tell me something? Why were you afraid? Why is everyone against you? Why is everything against my mom?
You can be against me all you want. One day, we will all stand there with Jesus. We will all stand there with Jesus, and you will know the truth of
Usually bras fit small-chested women like this.
Gapping. You guys.
Say it. Tell me that this was done in Jesus' name.
You don't know what happened.
Notice that she can't say it.
Mom. Oh, because I was kept in the dark to protect me? You know who needed protecting? My little dead siblings.
That's exactly true.
This
Where were you?
is not
Say that. Is that what you think you did?
You ran.
I hadn't been.
A month later, you ran away. I never wanted you guys to. I would have taken those kids in 1 second. I would bring them into my home and I would have taken care of them. That's not even a question to me.
Yeah, everybody
You can't say that you know.
Everybody says that.
Says it now? Where was my offer?
I'm saying
Well, you
I did everything for them.
Well, me
I
and Peter Griffin run away together in Hawaii? How about that? If you had offered me, you would have known.
You hear how she feels sorry for herself, and that she is the martyr. She had to take care of the kids. She had to be in the hospital with Tylee. She had to be taking care of JJ. Kay and Larry Woodcock were calling and calling and calling and they wanted JJ. When Charles Vallow took JJ to Houston, when he was at work, Kay was driving to Katy, Texas from Lake Charles to take care of JJ. Everybody wanted to take care of JJ. And the same would have been absolutely true with Tylee. She had her grandparents, she had her aunt and uncles, she had Colby. This is just more of Lori Vallow's mask and the alternate reality that she had to create so that she could build herself up into being something special, queen of the 144,000. Here's what I believe. I believe there's no way in hell that she was going to let Kay and Larry Woodcock take JJ, because she would have seen it as they were winning. So I think that was at the heart of it, why she wouldn't call. But then she needed the money. She needed the insurance cash.
You cannot sit here and lie.
That's not everything I am. That is not the truth.
It is the truth.
That's what people are thinking. There was two.
You walk away.
No, you don't know that. No, that is not what happened. That is not what happened.
You tell me what happened. If you can tell me what happened, then I don't care. If you can actually explain it, then it's different.
I would love
But you can't.
to talk to you about it.
Mom, you've been saying that you've been wanting to tell me for a very long time, and you never say it. You have no idea how much pain I have felt in my body. I feel like I could die. My own mom, my siblings, and my whole family might die.
Her saying, "Oh, you just don't know. I've been wanting to tell you. There's this big secret." That's all gaslighting. There's things you just don't know that would rationalize and make all this better. You don't know the truth because you're just not fully informed. It's gaslighting, 100% gaslighting. Making someone question themselves by confusing them, making up stories about their state of mind. Oh, what? There's things I don't know? Really? Well, then tell me what they are. Oh, but I've tried. You just won't listen. No, I'm listening now. Tell me now. I've tried to tell you before. It never works. One day you'll be ready to hear it. No, I'm ready to hear it now. Say it. This is what you always do. And then when I start teaching you and telling you, then you turn it all around and attack me, and it never works out. You're just not ready to hear the truth. All of that is BS. It's circular speak, and it's gaslighting. It's telling someone information to make them question their own thoughts and their own perceptions, their sensory input, and the phenomenological experience. It undermines their confidence in their own thoughts and their own experiences. They look and they don't believe what they see. They listen and they don't believe what they hear. Because someone like Lori is standing there going, oh, no, I've always wanted to tell you and you never let me. Okay, well, I'm letting you. Tell me. Oh, but you just don't understand. Remember the time I was trying to tell you? It's good old-fashioned gaslighting, and it is damaging. And if you ever have experienced it, well, it can feel almost evil sometimes.
Dad, everyone is gone except for you, and you're in jail because of it. I have prayed to Heavenly Father himself and asked him to help me survive this. Do you understand the freaking earthquake that has been caused? Do you know how many people are hurt and broken now? And you're telling me that there's a reason? Why are you following Chad down the rabbit hole, Mom? Why would you follow anybody that is not good? How can you follow someone that cannot lead you to salvation?
That's right. That's right. That's right.
You can't lie to me anymore. You can't pretend anymore. You can't hide anymore. If you want to tell me what happened, I called you for that very reason. You had enough condemnation for the whole entire eternity, but you're telling me that you're going to stand in front of Jesus Christ and you're going to be fine. That I'm still praying for you. I am still praying for you. I don't know where the lies and all these things are written. I don't see it. I never have. The light of Jesus Christ is the most powerful thing that's ever lived. It's the most loving, embracive thing that has ever happened to this world. And I pray that you see him and fall into his grace. I pray every day. I pray no matter how mad I am at you, no matter how bad I want to hit your husband in the face with a shovel. I pray for you. I pray for him.
Colby's a good guy.
You ripped my heart out and you ripped out everyone in this family's heart out. I'm going to be in Idaho this week. You need to look me in my eye, Mom. Look me in my eye.
I don't think she was listening to him. I think she's, keeping the phone away from her ear. I think she's in complete denial.
All right, so that concludes the publication of Exhibit 34B.
All right, so devastating. Absolutely. So I'm not going to go ahead and extend this any longer. I really wanted to see what we could learn about Lori from this phone call. I think that, that combination, lethal, actually, dangerous combination of borderline personality disorder with narcissistic personality disorder. And then you take this this woman who was given these messages of special religiosity roles from her family of origin, and you connect her to someone like Chad Daybell, who's just a big old fat loser, who decided early on, or recognized early on, that he could use BS lies about the veil and how he's a special guy, and manipulate people that are hungry to believe their religion, hungry to believe in the magic and the mysticism of end times, that he exploited those good people. He exploited those people that were hungry for magic, and he gave them what they wanted without any special skills. Chad Daybell doesn't have special skills, and he never believed that he had special skills. He just watched knowing he was a non-believer because he was so miserable in his own skin, and he watched other people react to people like Julie Rowe and others, not just her, but others. And he said, I may not be a true believer, but these people are, and I can use them, make up my stories, and I can make money off of these people. They started out as fictional tales, and as he saw people respond, he, tipped his toe into the water to say, well, really, this really wasn't fictional. I know I said it was, but it's actually, it actually is about the end times. It's a prophetic dream. I had 2 experiences. I have ripped my veil. I can actually see. People can talk to me from the other side. And there's this group of people that were hungry to believe it. And when he started his lies, guess what happened to his income? People bought more and more books. Oh, I'm sorry. We're not taking credit cards today. Cash only. I only make $2,000 a year with my books. Oh, really? You've got people standing in line that's 100 feet long, and all you made was $2,000 on your books? That is nonsense. They're giving you cash, and you're not declaring the money that you made on the books. So his whole life was lies and manipulations, all designed to elevate himself in power and stature and get something for nothing. A little bit of free money without declaring taxes. He's got a brother who is an attorney. He's got a couple of brothers that are physical or occupational therapists. They have their own business. They're lucrative. They're doing very well financially. They have great families that love them. Their kids are successful. And you got Chad and his children running around believing in ghosts. He knew. He knew he didn't measure up. He was embarrassed around his own family. And he concocted this fairy tale. It's a fairy tale. And so when his kind of crazy met up with Lori's kind of crazy, people had to die so that they could get what they wanted. Nanny, nanny, boo-boo. It sounds harsh, but, let me just go over very quickly the signs of narcissistic personality disorder. Number 1, a sense of self-importance. But it's not real. There's no substance. There's no earned or there's no evidence of accomplishment. It's just a delusional daydream. Preoccupation with power, beauty, and success. I'm going to be king of the 144,000. This is my priestess. They feel entitled. On the day that Charles Vallow died, Chad Daybell was adding $400,000 to Tammy Daybell's life insurance. On the day that Chad died, they were increasing her life insurance. People like Chad or narcissistic personality disorder, they can only be around people who are also important or special. Well, look at Jason Mao. He's a damn Roman warrior. Nobody ever stopped to think about, hey, wait a minute, wasn't it the Romans that killed Jesus? Wow. Now you're dressing the part and putting yourself on the front of your book? Thought this was all about loving Jesus. They're interpersonally exploitative. What you just listened, this phone call between Lori and her child, that was interpersonally exploitative. She was manipulating him, trying to get his blessing for her murderous conspiracies. They are arrogant. You ever heard any more arrogance than what we just listened to from Lori on that phone call? You weren't there. You don't know. I'm not going to talk to you about it anymore. One day you'll know the truth. But right now, I'm the special one. I'm the one that knows. You know nothing. Lack of empathy. Her child is weeping. He is earnestly pleading with her, trying to say to her, my heart is broken. You have wiped out my family, Mom. You did this. What? Do you care? Do you have a kind word to say to me? Not once did she say anything to him to comfort him or to demonstrate her love for him. In fact, the closest we got to love was, Tylee and JJ love me. Tylee and JJ love Lori, Lori. And finally, people that have narcissistic personality disorder, they are envious of others. They are envious of others, and more importantly, they believe that others are envious of them. People have judged me. People don't like me, and they're making up stories, and they're jealous of me and Chad, and that's what it is. You can't believe what other people are saying. So when Colby uses the term blasphemous or blasphemy, I couldn't agree more. And in the case of Lori Vallow Daybell, the combination between a high level of borderline personality disorder with narcissistic personality disorder, people get hurt. We have to remember that. We have to remember that when we start seeing someone who is putting their own illusionary needs before the real needs of life and limb of children, it's time to step in and take control. And Charles Vallow begged the police to help him. Begged. Her mom and dad, Summer, they could have stepped in. They could have stepped in and tried to help. At the very least, they could have taken those children out of that home, away from this woman. At the very least. To the credit of the cops, when Melanie Pulowski showed up demanding to take her children away from her father-in-law and mother-in-law, those cops fought her. Those cops protected those children and kept them in the home of the grandparents and said, no, ma'am, you and Alex, you hit the road, you get out of here. Those kids are perfectly safe where they are. They don't need to be around your religious zealotry. So at the end of the day, it's a devastating phone call, but we learn a lot about Lori Vallow as a human being. And there's a lot of room here to say, listen, if you see somebody in your family, one of your friends, and they are coming up with these very unusual ideas of reference. Oh yes, I'm Moroni in another life. No, you're not. And God is not talking to you on channel 3. When you have people in your family and this kind of nonsense begins, don't sit back and wait. Don't sit back and say, oh, well, maybe they'll get to feeling better. You need to ask for help, because you don't know just how fearful of abandonment they are, of being abandoned they are. You don't know just how strong their need for unique talents and skills are. And you have no idea if there might be some kind of brief psychotic state that is taken over, and they may decide, hey, that is not my little boy anymore. My little boy is actually gone on to heaven, and that is the body of my child that is now being inhabited by a zombie, and so I have to kill him. You need to get them to some actual help with people that recognize this kind of thing. And as far as Colby goes, there's some very real people here that really need prayers, that they can find some peace. At the very least, find the strength to get through tomorrow and then the next day. It's going to be a long haul for Colby and his family Kay and Larry, Kresha. So there's a lot of people that love JJ, Tylee, Tammy, and Charles. And to have this connected to such obscenity makes the process of grief and bereavement all the more difficult. And for the children of Chad Daybell, your dad was not set up. Your dad was the catalyst that drove all this murder. I literally I believe that at this point. I think that Lori was definitely conditioned for this by her family of origin. That this narcissistic hunger that she had inside of her, along with fear of abandonment, really kind of set the stage for the nightmare. But Daybell, his manipulative crap, he was the nuclear bomb that started it all. I believe that in my heart. So prayers for Tylee, Kay, and Larry Woodcock, Kresha, and other family members. This is going to be a long haul for them.